Alright, so in this lesson we're going to add steps to the inequalities we're solving. So this takes a lot of the properties we used when solving multi-step equations and just applies them to inequalities. So in example 1, we're going to solve a couple inequalities with 2 steps. So with part A, I would start solving this inequality by subtracting 7 from both sides. So this becomes y divided by -6 is less than 2. And I would finish solving by multiplying both sides by -6. It eliminates -6, and this becomes y is greater than -12. And the reason it's greater than -12 is because I multiplied both sides by a negative. That causes me to flip the sign. So to graph my solution, I'm going to plot, I'll do a better job of that. I'm going to plot -12, -13, -11, put an open circle at -12, and I would shade to the right. For part B, I would start by adding 4 to both sides. 2v is greater than or equal to 12. Divide both sides by 2. V is greater than or equal to 6. And to graph that solution, I'll put 6, 5, and 7. I'll put a closed circle at 6. And again, I'm shading to the right, greater than or equal to 6. So those are pretty straightforward. 2 steps, you add or subtract first, then you multiply or divide second. For example 2, we would solve this inequality, and I kind of messed up here. This inequality has a variable on both sides, so that's not really distributive property quite yet. So in this inequality, you've got to decide to eliminate 3n or 6n from that side. I'm going to decide or choose to subtract 3n from both sides to eliminate 3n. If I do that, this left-hand side becomes 3n minus 1 is greater than 8. Okay, I eliminated 3n from the right-hand side. Then it becomes a 2-step inequality. Next, add 1 to both sides. 3n is greater than 9. And then divide both sides by 3. So n is really greater than 3. And I know I didn't ask you to graph the solution for this, but I'm still going to do it. 2, 3, and 4 for my number line. Open circle at 3. And again, shading to the right because it's greater than. So with variables on both sides, decide to eliminate a variable from one side of the equation so that you have a variable on only one side. Okay. Example 3. This would be one with distribution. So I just kind of mixed up my examples here. So I'm going to just cross this part out. So first, to simplify this, I'm going to simplify the left-hand side. Distribute 3 through the parentheses. So this becomes 3t plus 1 minus 4t is greater than or equal to -5. And then it's noticing I have like terms on the same side of that inequality. So what this becomes, and I'll write it up here to have more room, this becomes negative, you could say 1t, or just -t plus 1 is greater than or equal to -5. So to solve this, I actually have 2 steps to take. First, I subtract 1 from both sides. -t is greater than or equal to -6. And you think of -t as -1t. So I would either multiply or divide both sides by -1 to finish solving. So my inequality, my solution in the end, is t is less than or equal to +6. So that's how I represent my solution. Graphically, 5, 6, and 7 on my number line. Closed circle at 6. and I would shade to the left. So I've given you some examples of different types of inequalities that require more than one step. So the next thing I'd like you to do in these notes is to go to the bottom. Once you're ready, pause the video and then work through guided practice 1 through 4 on your own. Once you're ready to see the answers, resume the video, hit play again, and then just check your answers before you move on to the practice. Okay, so here's the solutions. You can take a minute to look over them. Pause the video if you need to, just to double check. But this is just a way for you to try some problems independently. So now you should be ready to work through the practice and then eventually the checkpoint. Let me know if you got any questions, but you're ready for the next step.